Hello guys, good morning. This is Tutor Mark once more. Okay, so thank you so much for liking my video and sharing. For those of you guys who are subscribing on my YouTube channel, keep it up. And those of you guys who are following me on TikTok, the future is bright. Okay, so I've received a lot of requests concerning a topic called relative clauses. Yes, so that is under um, paper 2. Yes, relative clauses comes under transformations for the form 2 and the grade 12s. Okay, so I'm here to help. I'll make this video public. Yes, but I'll explain in details as we answer past papers for those of you guys who registered. So if you haven't registered, my WhatsApp number is on the screen. Just send me a text on WhatsApp and I'll register you. Okay, at an affordable fee. Okay, so I'll just do an intro presentation briefly on relative clauses and I'll give examples. Okay, so relative clauses. Relative clauses. So what we have to know about this is that a clause is just a sentence having the subject and the verb in it. Okay, a clause is a sentence having a verb and a subject. Okay, so yes, that's a clause. So it's a clause, yes. So now we have relative clause. So these are just it's just a piece of information that is introduced by the relative pronoun. Okay, or rather, this is just a sentence that adds more information to a noun and is introduced by the pronoun. Okay, what do I mean? What are relative pronouns? I'm saying they come after relative pronouns and they give us information about the noun, the subject. Okay, so this is what I mean. Let's look at relative pronouns because they follow relative pronouns. So relative pronouns. Relative pronouns. So for us to understand relative clauses, we have to understand relative pronouns because they always follow relative pronouns in a sentence. Okay, yes. And relative pronouns tell us more information about the relative clause, about the subject. Okay, about the subject. And this is what we are calling as relative clause. Let me give examples of relative pronouns. So we have whom, okay, we also have who, okay, so we also have whose, that, okay. So for those of you guys who didn't know what I was talking about by relative pronouns, these are relative pronouns: whom, who, whose, that, okay, etc., etc. Well, which. Yes, relative pronouns. Okay, so let me give you an example and I show you how I'm going to use a relative pronoun to introduce the relative clause. Okay, so this NB not happening. So relative pronouns introduce relative clauses. That's the very important point you have to get. Introduces relative clauses. Relative clauses. Yes. Okay. And relative clauses just contains information about the subject. Okay, now let me give you how questions come under this. Example. So we have number 1, we have Bridget, Bridget is my fiance. Okay, so she stays here. Okay, so I'll say again, Bridget, Bridget. Yes, yes, guys. So if you're following, as you can see, I'm saying relative pronouns introduces relative clauses. Okay, okay. So we have Bridget is my fiancée. She stays here. Okay, now look, they want us to transform this into this one, starting with Bridget. See, even here, starting with Bridget, even here, Bridget. So whenever you see something like this under transformations, guys, just know that they are talking about relative clauses. So meaning you are supposed to use a relative pronoun. You choose whether which, whom, who, whose, or that. You choose after you use the relative pronoun, then introduce the relative clause, because I'm saying relative pronouns introduces the relative clause. Okay, and relative clause just contains information about the subject. So in this case, the subject is Bridget. That's the subject. So what is the relative pronoun that will qualify here? Is it whom? No. Who? Okay, we'll come to this one. Whose? Remember, whose is the relative pronoun that shows belonging. That, yes, can be introduced. It can be used for a person or a thing, which can also be used for a person or thing. Okay, so now the best one that we can use here is who. Okay, so Bridget, who, okay, who. So now that we have used a relative pronoun, we can introduce a relative clause, okay, which will contain information about the subject. So Bridget, who, so we'll come to this one. That is where the trick part is. Bridget, who stays here, who stays here. Okay, guys, so we come back now to idea number one. Is my fiancé. Okay, is my fiancé. So guys, as you can see here, as you can see, my relative clause starts where stays here, stays here. Okay, who always introduces the relative clause? Because I said relative pronouns introduces relative clauses. Okay, so relative clause will start from here. Stays here is my fiancé. Stays here, that's where that's what I'm talking about. Stays here, that's my relative clause. Why? Because it is telling us information about the subject, Bridget. Okay, so as simple as drinking water, guys. Okay, so I'll go in details during class. Don't forget to register. Okay, so don't forget to follow me to Damak on TikTok, subscribe on YouTube. Please, guys watching me on Facebook, just like and share. Don't forget to register. Those of you from 2s and the grade 4s, distinctions are waiting. Okay, so the future is bright, guys. I'll leave you with food for thought as usual, as you watch out for the next video. Okay, so food for thought goes like this. So Mr. Mark is a genius, full stop. Mr. Mark is a genius, full stop. He was at UNZA, full stop. So transform these two ideas that I've given you, or rather this sentence transform, start with Mr. Mark or Tutor Mark. Start with Tutor Mark. Start with Tutor Mark. Okay, I'll be waiting for the answer. I'll be waiting for the answer. So just write it below the comment section if you haven't registered. If you've registered, send on my WhatsApp number on the screen. Thank you so much. Don't forget, if you wish to register, my number is on the screen at an affordable fee. We'll discuss when you call or text. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day and watch out for the next video.